Good day. This is Regina's Rabbit Hole. Much love to you and yours. I want to talk about shadows. There's a lot of things that we don't see that are in the shadows. Our behavior that we don't recognize is in the shadows. Things other people are doing in the community are in the shadows. We even get our language from the shadows. I'm thinking of that Bible verse, they know not what they do. All of my equipment is dysfunctional right now. I'm going through this gang stalking thing. I'm feeling really bad this morning. I'm sure that'll make some people that are jealous feel very good that I feel bad. Thinking about the earth and demons and hell and thinking about all the negative feelings that I spend my time excavating. I work really hard at it, and then as I'm working to get rid of feelings, you have people working diligently to pile them back on, and those would be the gang stalkers, saying things like, I'm being paranoid and really trying to lead me into that hospital, or a therapist. Every place that I go for self-help is being tampered with. They have the gang stalkers in the AA meetings and they're sending subliminals. So it's really disturbing when you're there around a group of people, get this, that are saying they want to help themselves and that they want to be the better part of society. And you're listening and looking around the room and they're freaking gang stalkers. They're saying bits and pieces of personal business that only happens in your house, that no one else would know but people that are involved with the gang stalking program. And if you say something, it makes you look paranoid to other people who are not familiar with the gang stalking stuff that's going on. Hello, Anisha. I'm really feeling bad this morning. I left my situation many a times and went to the domestic violence shelter for women. And every time I was kicked out, they have me coded in the computer to look as if I'm problematic. But I'm not. I really, when I'm with people, I go out of my way to get along with them. Over 6 years, I've been going through this thing, trying to leave my husband for over 6 years. But I've been going through this gang stalking program since I was a little girl. I didn't realize I was in the program until after I tried to leave my husband a few times, and I had been studying online, and I saw the tactics that the government uses to police TIs, targeted individuals, and that's when the evidence is right there. You can see it, but the people around you don't know it. And if they do know it, what can they do about it? So you're in this freaking bubble in a world by yourself. I had somewhat of a good week since I've been back, the honeymoon stage thing, but it didn't take long. Almost immediately, the dog across the street started barking, and that one woman doing the same bull crap that she does. I haven't heard her coughing yet, coughing really, really loud yet, but I did hear a statement made over the phone that was really obvious and stuff. That was from I overheard The love bite, talking on the phone, making fun of me. You know, it's that like to have the partner that you're sleeping with, a part of the targeted individual program, and saying things like, oh yeah, I would tell you how I knew that, but you would just say I was gaslighting you. Ha 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 ha. You would just get paranoid. You know, I want you to go see a doctor and go to the hospital because you're just not right. Just doing stuff to you, things disappearing. If you ask about where certain things are, clearly not at all. My yoni eggs, clearly not in the house at all. Just disappeared. If you ask about particular things, earphones that I use to block out the noise from the dogs and the barking and the other the other gang stalkers messing with me, like they do stuff constantly so that you hear it to trigger you, so that you feel helpless and desperate and alone. And so I use my earphones to try to block it out, to listen to music or my tape, whatever. When it gets bad, I'll just put my earphones on. They just disappear. Every single freaking set in the house, poof. So I buy a lot of headphones. My equipment gets hacked and becomes dysfunctional really quick. Whenever I get something to replace whatever it was that was messed up, I've got all kinds of laptops around here that I was using over the years to make my videos and do information. I really, really feel bad today. I am so freaking angry and disgusted with people that allow other people to damage people and abuse people like this. And even if the notion for being a gang stalker is you think you're doing something right to police a bad person, what did you become by the tactics that you use, you freaking hypocrite? Do you sleep good at night knowing that people die from the millions of little paper cuts they get every day? It's not just the spouse, and it's not just the neighbors. It's wherever I go. So I get no peace. And these are people, a lot of them sit right up in the church and take communion and get prayers and pray. You think you're God's warriors? Maybe God's warriors, the German god Good, Odin, doing his demonic work. I'm really sad. There's a few things I wanted to say, like being empathic and just simply knowing the information and um, knowing the patterns and stuff that they use. So you know what's happening, but you can't do anything about it. There's no one on your side. You're sitting here. You go to a domestic shelter for women and you ask for help to leave your situation. And you're sitting across from a woman that's a part of the gang stalking program. And she looks at you and smiles. And you can see certain things in the eyes and you try to ignore them because you're fucking desperate and you really need this help. So what if you think that she's a part of this program? Just ignore it and do whatever you got to do to get through this, right? No, these fucking people are thorough. They policing women and have you stuck in a certain freaking area. If I'm going into places, buying things, and the government has changed protocol and has gang stalkers policing stores, you have gang stalkers and the ex-service people where you do the leave, people on leave, people who do the what is it, where you can go in, you're like reserves, the reserves. Working. They need jobs too. So to hire the service person, it's like hiring a black woman. You get a minority and you get a woman, right? If you hire a minority woman that speaks two languages, oh boy, you really get your money's worth then. So I can see how when I go to the grocery store, I'm being stalked in the grocery store. And how anybody that doesn't know about that is going to think that I'm a freaking loon. What do you mean you're being stalked inside the grocery store? Yeah, they stalk you in the grocery store. They actually have old people and people doing recon so that when you go to reach for something or walk through the aisles, they're seeing how good they can be at looking like they're mistakenly crossing in front of you each time you're trying to move through the aisles and stuff. You have people cutting you off, people that are getting like, but this is constant. It's not a once in a while thing. You're in a grocery store, a child runs in front of you and gets away from their parent. Cool, that can happen once in a while. You're in a grocery store and a cart is in front of you and you have to say, excuse me to somebody to move it. That can happen once in a while. Or even on the first or the third when people get food stamps and everybody's doing their shopping at once. But every time during different times when you go to a store, the same store, using the same store to make sure that I'm not losing my freaking mind. And then after that, using the same store so that at least I know the tactics that they use and they know me. Had them throwing dental stuff in my freaking cart. So when I go to check my food out, I'm seeing how people were tracking me the whole time in the store. And that wasn't my imagination. They want you to know it wasn't your imagination, but no one else knows that it wasn't your imagination. And by the time they do know it wasn't your imagination, either you're talking to somebody that was a part of the gang stalking program or being gang stalked themselves and can't do anything about it. um, there was a brother that was speaking one time, Brother Panic, was speaking one time about some old lady in the grocery store who was crowding him, got in his way and said something particular to him. She was trying to get in front of him. And they're being rude so that they can test your disposition. They're pushing people to the point where they can mark them down as bad citizens. That citizen rating system, they're purposely going after certain citizens so that you get upset and G off on somebody. They're using their children. They're doing all kinds of stuff to get you to pop off, to get you to seem unstable, so they can write your notation down somewhere. The very thing that happened to him when he was talking about it, Brother Panic, at the grocery store, with some white woman was crowding him when he was at the counter trying to pay for his stuff. The very next day after I listened to that on the YouTube, the mess happened to me at BJ's. The exact same freaking thing, verbatim. Where a white woman, elder woman, came and was being rude, was crowding me at the counter to see how I would respond to her. You could tell she was waiting for me, wanted me to say something malicious. She's waiting to see how I responded to her rudeness. Not kindness to her rudeness. When I go to the YMCA, they stalk me there. One time, I didn't wear any panties. that was only known in my house. When I got to the gym, those old biddies knew that I wasn't wearing panties. The locker that I would normally go to was taken. And the locker that I would use, if that one was taken, they fucking watch you. That's where the panties were, on top of the freaking locker. Anisha said, that's why I keep a public presence that displays a disposition that I determine. I just stay to myself. I be polite when I can. I ignore what I can. And I work on being polite whenever I can. But sometimes they're just so freaking vicious, and I get so overwhelmed with the persistency and how they're so organized. And there's so many of them. And a lot of them act out like they have demons in them. They're loud and they're mean and they're just, as an empath being around them, it feels like I'm around shit. They stink and their whole thing just feels, ugh. I could tell inside that, something in there is fucking rotting. And they have each other. They're so organized. So I'm sitting across from this lady at the shelter, and I'm practically begging this woman for help. I really want to leave my situation. I'll do whatever I have to do. No, I won't even respond to this woman when she is saying mean things, when she's when she's out of nowhere saying things like nigger, bitch, whore, and there's only me and her there. I won't respond. I won't react. Sure, I'll come and tell you. Don't respond to her, they said. Come and tell us. I come and tell her, you're going to have to learn how to ignore some stuff and forget about it. So respond to her or tell you. So if I tell you, you're telling me not to respond. There's the dog. It's a good time for a cigarette, first thing in the morning, 6:23. But when I woke up at 12 o'clock, I wasn't expecting the dog to be barking. And when I woke up at 2:30, I wasn't expecting the dog to be barking. And when I got up at about 4-ish or something, it was some time in between there that I was up watching some YouTube. The dog was barking. When my husband got up, no barking, no dog or nothing like that this morning. And only again just now. A lot of times it happens when I go live. This woman across the street with her barking dog and coughing. Yes, they hate the light. They're doing whatever they can to suppress it. Like, I'm really, really on edge. Like, they want you to commit suicide or try to, so they can stick you in the hospital. The whole object is to get you in their place where they can do whatever they want to you, and you have no rights at all and nobody can see or care. My daughter is in the hospital. They've been wanting to get me in the same freaking hospital as my daughter. They're doing some kind of crazy stuff on lineages, not just one person. This is not even just about me. I got a 30-year-old daughter going through this stuff. She has no idea what hit her. Just like I didn't even know what this stuff was. I just went by what they told me. The church said you was possessed or crazy or bad, and if you did XYZ, it's gonna be okay, baby. So hit that Bible, hit your knees, hit the counselor, the therapist, hit them pills that the psychiatrist gives you. Do whatever you got to do, and thank God that you're still in it. Until you research and you learn a little bit more, and you learn a little bit more, and you learn about being a Moor and being a Hebrew Israelite. Israel light. Light. They hate your light. And even your own don't even know what the blip is going on, freaking co-signing that mess. That hurts too. Watching your own greedy for money, freaking take the assignment, or hungry to stay out of jail, or whatever freaking co-sign they have. I can't see how you got enough out of it being a gang stalker. Like, it's weird because they don't ever expect to pay for the amount of pain that you cause others. Do you think those people who told on the Jews during the Hitler occupation, before it got really bad, like when they were sending them to concentration camps, like the outside of the sheep corral just thinning till you end up with the middle, and they're looking at each other like, wow, there's really nowhere to go here. Really. I'm looking at this woman who has a domestic violence shelter for women, hurting other women. I'm not entitled to that help. Over and over again. And I thought it was me, like, whatever I got to do to get along with people, I'll freaking do it. I'm ignoring all kinds of abuses while I'm in the shelter for women of being abused. I'm being abused by other women. Freaking mind blower. If you say anything, you're being paranoid. You're being a problem. I have my children dependent on me to get my own little space so that I could feel safe and comfortable without being abused. So I could be myself without being called a witch or crazy or mistreated sexually or gaslighted and then being mistreated sexually. There's a judge, there's a mayor, there's the Neighborhood Watch Association, there's your public officials. All of them must be getting paid somehow from this program. They're getting perks. They're getting some kind of benefit from hurting me. And I'm not trying to hurt anyone. So every time I go for help in the system, and then 211 system, you call for help, I'm listed as being problematic. So when I go for help, I'm just getting in more problems. And from here, having to go back into the situation that I was in, they actually pumped it up. Like, we don't want you back here. You need to go in the hospital or somewhere where they can tweak you. Come out like KN West. So when I wore the blonde wig, it was to take note of what the freak they do to people. You go in one way and you come out with the blonde wig, shaking hands and ish. Like everything is just fine. I've been told it will get better for a long time. I know that we are the chosen people. Many people that are being targeted. It's the light. It's the fact that even if you don't believe the traditional beliefs, most likely you don't, you're still chosen by the Creator to share a message, to share your essence of who you are on the earth plane. It's like a ripple, like a correspondence. Who I am and the essence of who I am is getting shared. But there's this other stuff that is really counterproductive for me. It's productive for them because they eat the luge. They eat the pain and the suffering. and it helps me to appear destabilized so that I can't gather the following that I need to be able to support myself. I've gotten not one donation in at least the 6 years that I've been making videos on YouTube. I rarely see people share them forward from the YouTube. I've been feeling like what I'm doing is not good enough. I'm not good enough for you. But some fool with a banana on his head, scratching his butt and tap dancing is good enough. He gets the views. Some other woman regurgitating what I'm saying, looking the part for certain groups, she gets the views and the financial support and the respect. I'm looking at universal laws and trying to figure out correspondence and like, what the freak am I doing wrong? With my energy, there's always a choice. Hearing stuff like there's always a choice. Like, what choice? My choice is to be what my creator asked me to be. What choice are you talking about? To be what you guys are? Be willing to hurt other people like that and not expect any consequences? Just as long as we hold the line, we won't have to pay for our discrepancies. So we'll build Shern, and we'll time travel, and we'll build brain reading technology satellites and a giant quantum D-Waves computer. And we'll manage everything that way. We'll pay a whole bunch of gang stalkers. We'll do everything but clean that crap out of us, because that would hurt too much. Not being jealous and envious and not stealing and murdering, and even the pleasurism is theft. The whole society built on our ancient technologies and sciences and stuff and spiritual principles. Distorted. Distorted because they were stolen and used as if they was their own. From doing that, obviously you don't get it if you stole it and you didn't earn it. Duh. And so what? It may only work but so much. Some people can take a motorcycle and drive it from point A to point B on 2 wheels. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, wow. You can go really fast. But some people can take that motorcycle and do wheelies and all kinds of tricks. Like Evel Knievel. Y'all ain't never going to be Evel Knievel with this stuff. You're just going to take those 2 wheels from A to B and burn rubber and cause carbon dioxide. But we'll never figure out how to make that bad boy fly because you stole it. It's not yours. And then the way that you have to maintain it through crookery and murder and mayhem. It ain't never going to work for you the way it was supposed to. Our ancient sciences or anything that I have that you try to steal out of the sky and you watch them mimic you and they look so pathetic. And how we are still we still don't have our eyes. It's still hard for me. I asked our creator to please continue to give me the eyes that I need to be able to see. So I don't keep falling into situations where I'm trusting the wrong kind of people. This balance is difficult. This transition is difficult. It's more difficult because there's people throwing wrenches in it and making it confusing deliberately. So that you seem more off balance while you're off balance trying to get balance with your awakening in the spiritual energies. You run into camps expecting them to be all love and, to be what they said that they are, and they're not. They're full of jealous people who want what you have and are willing to do anything to get it, including being gang stalkers and lie and cheat and steal and gaslight you and start rumors and put enmity between you and whoever. As long as you don't get put on and that you don't find your footing. And they can take all their little nooks and crannies and stuff and publish them and produce them on larger platforms. At this point, I'm so frustrated that I don't really even want to connect with people, because a lot of times when I'm connecting with gang stalkers who are right there to take advantage of the opening. I don't find out till later that that's not a friend. It's not someone I could depend on. And so I can't be there for them to depend on me if I'm feeling like you're not trustworthy and I'm feeling unsafe and I'm feeling gaslighted. Um, I saw this picture of this black woman on a pole, one of those old pictures from the slavery days. She was on a pole, and the pole was through her mouth, from her vagina all the way up through her mouth. They seared her. And I said, that's how I feel. Being gang stalked in front of everybody. And even the person that I had children with, a part of that mess. Cheering them on, leading the way. Oh, you're paranoid. What? Wanting me to hear that that's what gaslighting is. Wanting me to hear certain catchphrases only I say. You don't even want to watch my stuff. You don't even share my videos or watch my stuff. Why are you repeating me? You friends with the boule and they ain't giving you ish. Always talking, trying to prove something to somebody. And willing to kill your own freaking mate and send me in the hospital and get a tune-up. Man, in the past, we would argue, we would fight. I couldn't remember what we were fighting about. I would always be wondering, why can't I remember? What is wrong with me? Why can't I remember? The gaslighting was a part of my programming. The freaking handler. To keep me scattered. So I can't focus. Always keeping some kind of degradation going so that I feel low. And where do you go for that kind of stuff, right? You go to the therapist, you go to the psychiatrist, you talk to them and they give you medicine. I study psychology. I can be a psychologist if I want to. I don't like what I see going on. Where are the rest of us that are awake so we can talk together? I need to be talking more with people like us and what we're going through. This is so freaking painful and so surreal. It's disgusting to watch those among us freaking getting along, just going along with this. I'm being hit with energy frequency weapons. I'm being lied on. I love you too, baby. Have a good day at school. I'm watching my children be set up and lined up for this bullshit. Excuse me. I have a daughter in the hospital that doesn't know what hit her. They can actually change your whole freaking personality and send you into a whirlwind of crap. when you want to sit there and be studying and reading a book, they can send voices and scatter your thoughts. If you learn how to tune them out, they use outside noise and neighbors and stuff. They'll use ambulances. They'll use police sirens. They will muck up your computer equipment. They'll find ways to steal your earphones. And if you try to run and go to a woman's shelter or some shelter, they'll find a way to send people in there and mess you up. As a matter of fact, some of the homeless people, they recruit. You should have saw the body language of some of these people that I bumped into in these situations. You can tell they were sent in there to fuck with you. I'm not watching my language. I'm really struggling for my life right now. Seriously. If I'm dead, don't just say that she was crazy. She was just crazy. No, you better do some more investigation. Because if you're not a gang stalker and you're paying attention to this information, eventually you're gonna end up on that freaking list, I'm pretty sure. From one reason or another. Because you're a threat. Because you see things, they don't want us seeing this stuff. America is definitely not what it used to be. Or is it? Are we getting there yet? Which part of the way it used to be are we trying to get to? Was it the days of slavery? Or was it before them when we were great? When we were a great civilization? Didn't mind being in the know? Talking about ancient civilization. Some of us are waking up with memories of ancient civilization, waking up with memories of the technology. They don't want us bringing that technology online. So they're doing the goofiest, most horrible things. They keep the creators' people offline, off balanced, unable to trust people around them. I felt so low. You get to the place where you're willing to trust anybody just for things to change. And then after you do that, you get to the place where you don't trust anybody because there was no change. They say, so the Nazi paperclip stuff comes in. You want somebody to feel sorry for you, that little bit of emotion, right? And the things that I'm saying, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. You want somebody to feel sorry for you. You freaking heartless MRFer. Humans feel stuff. You don't got to feel sorry for me. Feel sorry for yourself that you don't feel anything for me. You have no feelings. I don't need anyone to feel sorry. Just feel. I empathize. I empathize. I empathize and I'm frustrated with the fact that I don't have the resources to do anything. I don't even have the resources to make a better decision for myself. And me wanting to make resources for myself is being tampered with. Before I left the shelter or knew that they were going to kick me out, women were telling me they're trying to kick you out. Watch out, they're trying to kick you out. Every day that I had been there for, it was a whole week, every day I was told uh, that I would have to leave if certain things in the house persisted that I didn't even want to be a part of, desperately trying to stay out of the way of people stealing from each other and arguing with each other. And I'm trying to stay out of the way of that. So you're talking to everybody, not just the people that were arguing or stealing from each other. But if there's any more problems, you have to leave and everybody will have to leave. There was like this pressure every day. Like it was triggering post-traumatic stress disorder from freaking women that were already, I could see the women that were fighting and arguing and stealing from each other. But if you're stuck in the middle of it, why the freak you sitting them down telling them that too? And if you're telling them that you're being stalked and abused by another woman in the house, isn't she supposed to be checked? Isn't she supposed to leave? Why am I being checked and I have to leave for another woman's abuse? And then don't want you to take any pictures or footage in the house, so you can't record what was going on. But I did take a couple of pictures and footage of what was going on. And when I figure out how to do that mess without them putting repercussions on me, I will fucking show it. Not that it's going to do me any good, because we be showing the stuff and it's not registering that these people are being abusive. And since the mayor and since the mayor and the judge and the neighborhood association is in on it, they in cahoots. Oh yeah, you're being paranoid. Are you sure you don't want a higher level of care? Are you sure? Because we have places where you can go. At one point, I'm sitting in there thinking, what about that shelter where they sent those people where that lady was singing? That was the fat lady. They were saying those people disappeared and that they went into the FEMA camp. Bye bye. People are just gone, just disappearing. There's reports where people are saying that people are actually being killed from the homeless population. So then I thought about it and I was like, wow, that was the fat lady singing. It's over. And I see the way they're policing people through this 211 system. They already know who you are. So anytime that I call for help, I'm going to get doo-doo. So what am I supposed to do? Sit here and wait to freaking snap and have them put me in the hospital and fill me full of pills, maybe give me electroshock again, freaking erase my memory. Give me a conservator, send me back home, maybe this time doing the Thorazine shuffle. Maybe partial lobotomized, like one flew over the cuckoo nest. We're still showing pictures of what happened to us. That's the shadow. We know not what we do. We don't see the darkness that's going on. Most of us are not seeing this stuff, or it's not registering what it is that we're seeing. People are being brutally hurt out here. So they're using children. They're using the domestic violence shelter. And you could study with people talking about Black consciousness, Black power. And some of them are so hungry for money and power or to stay out of jail, whatever deal that they made. You're doing it too, to your own people. It don't matter if they have dreads or a scarf or what. What matters is what you were assigned to do, and that's to be a gang stalker, to gaslight somebody or to humiliate somebody, to start rumors on somebody, a smear campaign. Oh, and it's just one little thing. It's not that big of a deal, is it? Is it a big deal when you learn that there's hundreds of people, thousands of people that are assigned to do that to the TI whenever they show up? Not just you. See, you may feel better that you just did this one little thing. You just kicked them out of the shelter one time. You just lied on them one time. You just, oh, I believe one of the staff stole from me too. What did the weird stuff that they do? She grabbed the paper. This is the same staff who called the supervisor to have me thrown out. This is crazy. She looks at a paper that's inside. First, I was moved 3 freaking times in the house and told different things each time. When I first got there, they said that there was a floor for women and children and another floor where they put single women, that they don't normally put single women with women and children. So I said, okay. Then when they moved me from the floor where there was single women, they said, well, there's other families coming in and stuff. We have to move people around. Okay. So you put the single woman, that was when I ended up in between 2 thieves. Pepsi drinking, me eating thieves that were arguing with each other about stealing, and it was just crazy. I'm in the room with them, being penalized with them, and I'm trying to stay out of the freaking way. If there's any more problems from in here, you're gonna have to leave. You need to be talking to those women. But because I'm single and I'm there, I'm getting looped up, and it was just crazy. Both of these women come from where I just came from. Why is that? When I mean, I know that it was winter time and the shelter system is kind of crazy, but I was told that the reason why they don't even want to put you in your hometown is because there would be too many people that knew you. And so when you do something like that and you go to a domestic violence shelter, they try to split people up and put them in different areas so that the abuser doesn't find you, so that you have a chance to start over. So you're in a house and almost everybody is from Waterbury. That was some weird-ish. And the one woman that wasn't from Waterbury was from one of the places that I grew, a nearby town from here that I grew up in. And she was the worst one. This old lady was stalking me through the whole house, saying really malicious stuff. She's leaving books around. The book said one of us are lying. After I complained, she said she wasn't doing nothing. So if it's a lots of small petty stuff that's meant for psychological abuse to terrorize you, and you're letting somebody know, and then you seem petty. I told you that she was lying. She just left a book that said one of us is lying. But you're being petty. So it's like a whole bunch of coincidences that will be stacked up to where you know that it's not a coincidence, because these things are stacking up and it's back to back. But to someone else, they look like little petty things that you may be complaining about or dealing with. You may seem like you're the one that's being problematic, troublemaker, bougie. I barely mentioned what that woman was doing out of being uncomfortable about the way that it was going to be received, because a lot of stuff she was doing was so petty, but it was consistent. Consistent, and she was following me around doing it. It was a setup. And the staff woman, she was constantly checking my room, like constantly checking me in this other woman's room. It was funny, when the white woman was there, I just realized she wasn't checking the room as much. But when me and the black woman was there, she was checking the room like 3 or 4 times a day on her shift. She was coming in, opening the drawers and stuff, opening the closet and stuff. So finally one day I said, excuse me, but I realized that you're always checking this room, but I don't see you doing it to the other rooms. I'm just being observant. I was wondering why, because it kind of feels uncomfortable. Oh, but you're not supposed to speak up. So she said to me, oh, the only reason why I'm doing it to this room is because it has a dresser. That makes sense to me because, like, there's cabinets and there's, you know, there's closets, right? So then the other black girl gets kicked out, and I was by myself, and she put me right next to the woman that I was saying that I'm having a problem with, and gave me a chore with her. Most of the house is free, so you could spread us out now. What happened to what I was told? And if I recall what I was first told, that they like to keep the single women by themselves and the women with children by themselves. Oh, no, no, no. We changed things around. Who told you that? Who told you that? That's usually a protocol for shelters. But I'm supposed to be too ignorant to know that. What I was told initially is the protocol. It's usually the protocol. It's also usually the protocol not to put so many women, or not to put women from the same town together like that. I felt like I was in a house where I was being assessed. Like, I was never supposed to be able to get an apartment or get any help from out of there. I even freaking broke my foot and went to the emergency room, and lucky that I heal fast, because she didn't care about my foot being hurt, putting me up on a top bunk. Oh, you could get a cot if you want to. All this to make sure that I'm right next to this woman who was terrorizing me. Mostly her, not just her, but she was really gun ho about it. She had her cane. And she was always mumbling under her breath when I was around and followed me around. If she knew that I was up, she'd get her cane and start coming. I had that thing on my foot so you could tell me. And when I got up and moved from everybody else, they got demons in them. Because I swear, when I got up and you could hear the dragging of the foot when you're wearing a brace on your foot, whenever she heard that, she would freaking jump up and go to wherever I was so that she could be in front of my face, just to be aggravating, knowing that I was trying to avoid her. I was told to avoid her. We were told to avoid each other. And every chance she got, she would get in my face and start saying all kinds of crazy stuff. And when I complained about it, it went dismissed. And there was all kinds of crazy stuff going on that they were just dismissing. But the one, and then she was gaslighting me where she started trouble. She was sitting with the other white woman that had the baby next to the room where I was left on the whole floor by myself with these two white women and myself in the corner, and this one Latina woman that was acting really strange, opening and closing the drawers all the time. So I could tell right away that she was something wrong with this Latina woman. Uh, she asked me if there was anybody I was getting after I had my housing appointment. She made sure that she asked me, um, so how did your housing appointment go? Yeah, the spite in the eyes and stuff. So how did your housing appointment go? Oh, it went well. I'm hopeful. They said that if I found anybody here that I could team up with them. I think there's just one lady that I might be considering. But if not, at least I could be able to get like disability housing or something like that I can afford for myself. I can finally be able to get my own place. And I was talking to her about that one woman. She had went out for the day with her children, and she didn't come back. She was kicked out. And I didn't know she was kicked out. But that staff, Myra, that I was talking to, knew that she was kicked out. And when I mentioned the one person that I was getting along with, I remember I'm empathic. The corners of her mouth, you know, when somebody can't help it, the corners of her mouth went up. And I was wondering, why is she doing that? And by the end of the night, when the woman didn't make curfew with her children, I knew why she was doing that when I was talking to her about the one person that I think that I could get along with, that I could trust, that was in the house. She already knew that she kicked that woman out. She wasn't coming back. It gave her pleasure to see the one person that I would have hooked up with wasn't there. And she knew she was going to get me kicked out. She's the one who called the supervisor again. First time I said that I wanted to make out a report because of what was going on in the house. It was atrocious. So she said I could have the supervisor come. I said, I don't need to speak to the supervisor. I just want to make out a report because I'd already been through this freaking crap. I was thrown out of a shelter before on the very day they were supposed to give me. And I went through similar kind of crap. Being followed around the shelter by a white woman who had children. It was crazy. I'm asking her to leave me alone. I said one thing to her that I shouldn't have said because I snapped finally because I was just trying to deal with her. And she ran to the staff. And the day that I was supposed to get my security deposit, help with my first month's rent, security deposit, and furniture, after being in that shelter, they kicked me out with the bag of clothes. The bag ripped and my stuff fell out. Stuff fell out on the ground. I had nowhere to go and was in another state. And these women did not care. All they cared about was their agenda. And that was the 211 code, is that I can't get help. Whenever I go into these places, they do things to make sure that I don't get the help, and they kick me out before I can get the housing and try to make it seem like it's my fault and I'm problematic. And it's happened to me before. That's 3 times, and there was another time. And so I was almost losing my mind thinking, what the freak can I do to get along with people so that I can get my own housing and get out of this abusive situation? But every time I went there to get help, there was somebody more than willing to get paid off of this gang stalking program and send me down the river and not give me the help that I needed. So I'm back home more disheveled than I was before, still dealing with the same freaking things. I had about a week of not so much gaslighting and stuff from the man that I'm married to. But then, you know how on my videos or sometimes when I'm talking, I'll be like, what? You're on the phone talking and he's like, what? Every time I come out of my room, that's the one thing that he's saying. What? Yeah, you're concerned about that woman across the street. You would sell your mama for a bag of peanuts. What? That's what I said. What? You would sell your mama for a bag of peanuts and a little prestige. I sleep with you. We had children together. These people look in your eyes and they're supposed to be caretakers, they're judges. Neighborhood watch? Freaking demonic. This is demonic. They're using children, doctors, and psychiatrists. It all fits together, though, when you look at Pope Francis and what he said about Sunday worship. How they're all going to belong to some demonic entity. How it's very easy to tell them, you know what, do this for God. And they'll go out and they'll do murder and mayhem. No questions asked. And it makes them feel really good. Be a good nigger. Put a little star on you. little patches on your little badge, patches, couple of letters in front of your name, MD. Therapist, licensed practitioner, bought by the establishment. So whenever they tell you abuse that woman right there, make it hard for her, make sure she gets kicked out of here, you do it. Or maybe it's just easier for those demons, that jealousy, envy, and spite, to utilize you so that you just do it because, I mean, it gives you pleasure. That doesn't help me any. I don't know what to do. If there was a cry for freaking help, this is it. I don't know what to do. I don't know who is out there to be able to help with the situation, to actually freaking help with the situation. I'm in a bad freaking situation and I don't know what to do. And I am not crazy. Targeted individuals are real. What's happening with the gang stalking is real. We're being human trafficked. The longer I can't get a grip and get my balance, it's easier for me not to produce things that I have that I want to produce. It's not being in the community. I'm too busy fighting for my life and trying to stay balanced and stable. Trying to prove that, try not to let them drive me over the board so I end up in a hospital. I always got in a second guess whoever is in front of me. And when I push past the second guessing and just go with it, man, it's scary, the kind of stuff people be saying. It's like, why did I even let them in there? Here we go again. I'm not even sure who has access to my Facebook because I don't see any of the other people that I saw 5 years ago. I'm really not seeing them. I'm seeing a certain portion of people. And the way they have me bombarded with the ratio per real people per stalkers, I'm not even sure how many non-stalkers are even seeing my feed. Or how much of this is just street performance when I get responses sometimes from, the Facebook. That's how bad it is. Where you're just not sure anymore, even for an empath. You don't want to tap in. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to feel the pain. So I have no money and no safe place to go to lay my head. And they're waiting for me to snap and pop off so they can put me in a hospital. Or maybe it could be death by suicide, suicide by cop kind of stuff. We could figure something out. I can't freaking live like this. This is not living, it's freaking torture. Sitting around watching people get off on humiliating me and torturing me and keeping me separated. And then saying, stop crying about it. So you're giving me instructions on how to die better or more silently so that it doesn't affect you? But you're the one with the paper knife. Why don't you tell all the other minions and legions out there to stop freaking cutting too? Then maybe I could freaking heal. I'm not going to your freaking therapist because I don't trust you anymore. I'm not going to your doctors because I know you're freaking waiting. How's that for freaking paranoid? Nobody offered any donations, so I won't be able to get my own freaking place. And every time I go to the freaking establishments around here, stuff is getting messed up. I don't know what to do. I don't have a friend or a way to walk through this. So I'm feeling really screwed right now. Every time I walk away, I end up right back at the only place that I can go. And that's here where I'm being hurt more. And so I could save face and act like everything is fine, smile and just say the information and stuff, the studying that I've been doing, that I'm trying to do in between all this freaking chaos. And even when you repeat it back, it just sounds so, oh, it sounds so crazy. Check out Anthony Patch and look up other materials and other information that you can on gang stalking and targeted individuals, human trafficking. I don't know how long I can keep doing this. I don't have a support. So it's just me. I'm taking all this by myself. And when I did try to join a group, they try to make it seem like I was just being paranoid and let the gang stalkers in there just go rampant and say and do whatever they want to. But if I was to address them, there you go again, you're being paranoid. Play along to get along. Meanwhile, a lot of them are actually listening to parts of what I'm talking about and regurgitating it as if it was their own words, as if it was their pain and suffering that gained that knowledge and ability. No, it wasn't. They're going to stick knives all in me and put bricks in front of me and try to get me to fall. And whatever I obtained that was in my arms, I was holding on to, you want to grab like it was your own. Like you took the time and the pain to learn that. Taking hits for the information that I learned by going through this. It's not important for me to look good, but it is important for me to be truly a part of my creator. I get lost and like that's the only thing that I have to hold on to. That breath. It's like in the end I know that it's just gonna be that real. It'll be me and my breath, me and God, me and my creator. Not God, but me and my creator. That knows everything that I went through and every step that I took and every lying freaking person that was in my path. Maybe did. Maybe then I'll be at peace. I'm at peace when I dance. If I can get into a place of flow. There's a lot of interferences and stuff now. I got problems with all my equipment. I've been really having a rough time. A lot of stuff I'm not even saying because it would just seem redundant and petty. It's a whole bunch of small things that get piled up to where they're just so freaking overwhelming. And Erica, there was nowhere else for me to go that was better. They were trying to send me to New York City. A lot of things have been trying to either send me to New York City or back in or in a hospital. Something wants to find there. Something wants me on those pills, those medications, and in the hospital where they can do whatever they want. I don't even have a say so over what happens to my daughter. She's a grown freaking woman. She has no say so over what happens to her at all, and neither do I. They do all kinds of stuff to keep you from connecting. And she's born on 8887, a star date, day. So a lot of these things that they're using dark magic for and stuff, and the regular population don't know about, they're just plucking us off the street saying any old thing and using us like slaves. And nobody knows the freaking wiser. Oh, they were just a crazy person. They were just a degenerate. No, they want us to think that all of us are crazy people and degenerates. Oh, just paranoid, just crazy, just a degenerate. It's their own freaking fault. And learn to play along to get along. To get along with what? People gang stalking other people, willing to harm other people? For what? Why are you willing to do what you're doing to me? Why? Who's telling you to do it? What kind of person are they? What kind of being are they? And why? You get permission to torture and maim and lie and shame. Oh yeah, let's go do it. But it's just weird. And even with the black magic, right? If all magic and stuff comes from the basis of our ancestors and spiritual principles, the creator. And there's two sides to magic anyway. I was just thinking, it's just, there's a lot of stuff that I've been thinking. How do you expect to get comfort and good deeds from doing something wrong? Do you think that there's really a God? I'm like wondering about these people. If you really think that there's a God and there's a heaven and a hell, is this the hell that you're talking about? Like, you don't think there's nowhere else that you can go that's worse? So when you hurt people, you don't think that there's nowhere that you go when you hurt people, when you murder and steal? And so all that stuff that our creator wrote in the Bible, all that stuff that rots people's souls and their minds and makes them do all kinds of crazy stuff, like, we don't really think that there's a place where people like that go? We don't think that there's really karma. We don't think there's consequences. Can't possibly think there's consequences with the kind of stuff I'm watching people prepared to do. You can sleep with somebody and have children with them and be a gang stalker, be a love bite. You can live across the street from somebody and put electronic frequency weapons on them that you know is harming them, you know is disturbing their frame of mind, their peace, their connection with the creator, and you put yourself there in front of it to do it because it gets you off. Like, is anybody thinking that, is there another place, or are we in that place and I just don't know that we're all? I believe that this place has the principles of heaven and hell. I'm trying to spend my time in heaven and there's people bringing me hell. The most hellish thing about it is that they're acting like they're not doing it, so I can't confirm it with anybody around me to get the vindication. Like, yeah, like I have that between me and the creator. That's what I have. And I'm finding more and more that even though I'm left with that, it's those moments where I just want to be like, take that deep breath and just meditate. those are the moments where I'm hearing ambulances and sirens and dogs and coughing and like, let me not complain. Let me just put on the smile and cheer up. Oh, hello. How are you? Everything is just fine. My life is fine. Everybody's acting accordingly. Everything is okay. Can we make money now that I seem everything is fine? If everything is fine in my life, then am I worthy of everything really being fine in my life? Is that the correspondence? I got to pretend that people aren't putting a foot up my hoo hoo in order to get the foot out of my hoo hoo. Like, how does this work? People that you're supposed to trust, that are supposed to be caretakers, looking at you in their eyes. I don't know where I am anymore. Maybe I was just better blind, thinking that I was just stupid and crazy. If I could just blame it on me, I could change me. But when I see that there's just other systems in play, I can only change what I can change, like that serenity prayer. Yeah. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what is available there to actually really help me. Just, I just want my children to know if something happens to me that what happened from my point of view, so that when stuff is continuing to happen to them, they know that they weren't crazy and that they were being marked. Maybe they can help their children. Maybe they can find a way, because I couldn't yet. But I know that I'm short for patience, and I'm make this video to vent, to be truthful about how I feel about what's going on. And seeing that woman on the pole from back in the slavery days, with the pole coming out of her mouth, going through her vagina, this just through her. And I feel like that. For the years that I've been in this freaking program, I feel like that. I feel like it's just so raw, you know. How did our ancestors feel hanging from trees and being murdered and maimed, and all we could do as slaves was just stand there and watch or die with them brutally? So you're going through that stuff, well, even the witches, right? And people that were beheaded. So other people watching. The residual on that is crazy. They say that people have certain fears and certain things from their past life and this life. Certain people fear fire or water or heights. And some of this stuff is from past lives where things happen to them. I look around at all the faces that smile, but behind those freaking eyes, how they can just, the same ones pointing up at the hanging body, the same ones a brother told me, damn, just deal with it. Thanks. Dang, just deal with it. We are truly broken. That was the hope. dang, just deal with it. You're being killed by gang stalkers in front of thousands of people. You can see me. Some of you know what the blip it is. So even when you know what it is, it's like, just deal with it. Like, how deep is this? I'm like wondering on the other side. What is it like to be the counselor or the therapist that's looking at a TI with a smile on your face? And you know you're just there to make sure they don't get what they need. What the freak is that like? I don't want to know. Firsthand. You can tell me. Because I can't fathom it from this end. It's too putrid to me. The thought stinks up the whole freaking room for me. Like, you either deal with somebody or you don't. You don't pull them in. This is just freaking nasty what's going on. They're entrapping us into situations so that they can utilize the downfall, just like the men going into the Department of Corrections. People falling out with their probation officers are ending up part of the stalker team so they can stay out of this or that. Are they giving you guys any money? Because you seem really gung-ho about it. Some of you, I know you're getting money and perks. To what end? When you're gone and you no longer have any flesh, do you believe in another side? A heaven or hell? Do you believe in a place where we have to take accountability for what we did? Because I got things and visions and stuff that I'm dealing with, stuff that I feel like I did in a past life. I haven't been able to get to those resources to even deal with that yet, with all this other stuff going on. I got to deal with what I'm dealing with and my growth process through the ascension in between all this torturing and gaslighting. And sabotage. So before you go and say something else stupid that's hurtful, go and look up gang stalking. And see how real it is. And get an inclination as to what I'm dealing with. If you so choose to. I wouldn't want to be here either. I'm talking to people. I want to talk to people who are already here so we can help each other deal with it. I hope it doesn't end up like AA where the gang stalkers are sitting right there looking at you saying more bull crap. And the more you address stuff, the more you seem paranoid or disconnected from reality, and it's quite the difference. Anyway, I didn't know what I was going to do today or how I was going to deal with the day, and it was so early and I wanted it to end. I don't like waking up every day knowing that people are there to torture me and there's no help, no way out. My way out is not to be one of you gang stalkers and with permissions to torture other people. That's not my way out. So if the only way out is that way, like, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to die like this. They're actually going to kill me and nobody gives a blip. They're killing me and nobody cares because you don't see any blood. Matter of fact, it even looks like I made the mess and it's my fault, right? Look at how many other people are gone. Political prisoners and stuff. Whistleblowers. Who am I to fucking complain, right? I am who I am. Take the fucking hit. Just die, why don't you? You chose to be who you wanted to be. So now deal with it. It goes a lot better when you have people that know and it makes sense, that it doesn't just seem like it's going to get lost. Like, I was wondering how many secrets this place holds. How many people like me died and knew they were targeted individuals and nobody else did. Because I was thinking about people who died without realizing that they were targeted. Just thought they were, dysfunctional or crazy or had bad luck. This thing wants you to see it and no one else except for who else is doing it. To the point where it looks like everybody's doing it. But I know that's not true. I wish there was something that I could do for myself so that I could help my children out of a real situation. A little house, a little place that I could protect, that I could safeguard, that I didn't have to wake up with somebody freaking harassing me or abusing me in my bed, in my house, in my own house. So I could at least get that amount of pressure off of me with this thing that I can't control out there, but to at least be able to pick who is in here with me, right? But the domestic violence shelters are hiding something. They have shadows. They have people coded and they're policing people through there. We have shadows. We don't know ourselves. We don't know who we're standing next to. We don't know why we're doing what we're doing. Why are you a gang stalker? What do you think is going to happen to you when it's time to die? Do you think you could just repent it away? Just washes off? Because it's a group thing, it's okay. It's okay, it's a group thing. It's okay now. God's down with it. It's a group thing. Like when it was a group thing when they put that whole pole through that woman's vagina and her mouth. Or it was a group thing when they actually hung them from trees for strange fruit. It was a group thing when they lied on people, killed people, stole from people, maimed from people. It's the same kind of stuff going on. It just looks different. This is Regina's rabbit hole, talking about shadows. Talking about being a TI. I'd much rather be bubbly and positive and all that kind of stuff. But in Regina's rabbit hole, this too is a part of my life. The dog is barking again. So I'm home alone. And I have the whole day to listen to this dog barking and that woman across the street and the other. I always think of Mandela when I think of this setup. Anyway, much love to you and yours. I certainly hope that you're not dealing with this kind of stuff. And you have a place that you could put flowers and trees and grass and Enjoy the sunshine or the rain. Enjoy your loved ones without people torturing you and making you second guess yourself instead of building you up. That you actually have real friends around you and family that cares for you. I want for you what I want for myself. And I really do mean much love to you and yours. Watching you enjoy the things that I want actually helps me, especially when I see or when I suppose that it's gained by really cool people. So I watch some people, not everybody. Some people have things that are really simple: family, friends, a good place to live, conversation, a good meal. Enjoy that. Because if you're one of us, TIs, you ain't going to enjoy any of that. The whole time you're going to know if there's something freaking lurking over your shoulder, getting ready to put a wrench in it. And you're not supposed to feel bad about it, because that would mean you're feeling sorry for yourself. And we wouldn't want that, would we? Just find your way out of it. Do what you got to do. Put the work in. Do I go to the grocery store and apply for an application where they use gang stalkers and service people? Just trying to figure it out. Because whatever I need to do where I can avoid that, where I can actually get put on without becoming a person that has to abuse and torture other people, I'll freaking do it. If I don't have to abuse or torture other people, is that the job that I have? That I'm the sacrifice because I don't want to abuse or torture other people? Is this the job? Be the TI. Be the one who is tortured. I don't know. My apologies. I dumped a whole bunch of stuff. It was not positive. I needed to get it out of me so I could freaking live this day. It's that bad. That's the kind of stuff that I don't share in order to stay positive. If I address it, I'm dealing with correspondence. If I don't address it, I'm dealing with correspondence. Don't know. Some of the people I looked up to seem to have lost their freaking mind. But you wouldn't get close enough to them to ask them what the freak, because they'll just throw you off their platforms and say that it was your fault. You asked for what you got. Don't blame anybody. Get angrier the more you try to address what you're going through. So that's another fucking knife. I'm like, it would be a mercy if I would just walk out and just like, just bam, just end it. That would be a fucking mercy. Mercy. Don't fucking torture people like that. And you have to wonder about your everyday. And then, even something like this, sharing what's happening. It's hard to be this freaking vulnerable. And I don't expect anything positive should come out of it, because all I did was share the pain that I'm going through. So where do I share the pain that I'm going through in a positive way? I'm doing the best that I can. I know I'm rambling right now, but against the alternative that I was thinking, because I didn't want to do this day. So I made this tape, and I don't know where it's going to lead. Maybe I'll get a miracle and it will lead to what I need. Maybe it'll just make people that are jealous of me feel better about themselves. I don't know. I'm looking for a way out. You know, I don't mind doing the work that I need to do to get out of situations. But if people keep blocking the door on you, what the blip? You know, I keep thinking about going to these shelters and asking for help and not having to come back without what I need all these years. And how many people that were part of that now, because it's been years, that were a part of derailing me. And you see what's happening to me year after year, over and over and over again. You see it. And I ain't dead yet. At least tell them to fucking kill me. Fucking sign the fucking paper. Judge, mayor, the freaking landlord is one of the people on the neighborhood neighborhood association. Freaking cameras everywhere. Call me paranoid if you want to. These people are right in our face, in our children's face, acting like they're not doing anything. But they're able to take their pick and their choice of folks and isolate them and abuse them and torture them right in front of everybody's face. Like we're just stupid. It's not just a mockery of me. It's a mockery of everybody watching me go through this freaking torture. Like you're stupid and you can't see. Like I was. So please go and look up gang stalking. I'll try to make sure the next video I make is more cheerful. The war is real. Much love to you and yours. I'm out. Another thing, the war is very real. They have a suicide signal on where they're literally telling people after going through stress like this, kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself. What's wrong with these bitches doing it? Why don't you do it? Why don't you do it? Why must I do it? Does the Vatican papacy want me to do that so you can do some kind of freaky stuff with the body or whatever? That's another reason why I'm thinking, why suicide? Why don't they just go ahead and fucking kill people? Why this prolonged suffering? It's putting a lot of juice in the luge. It's causing a lot of pain and suffering. Like they're eating really good off of us. Let's end this. Seriously, let's end this. I'm out.